I don't think that our youth felt a great call to participate in much outside of youth group.
Their late night game nights or youth group when Sunday evening church was going on.
We created a youth version of everything and didn't have a lot of interaction between the generations.
Anybody on leadership is always really deeply concerned with how can we make sure that the next generation rises up and replaces us when we're in the ground.
It's inviting an older person, a younger person to come together and to discern what is something that ignites them, what is something that they see as a problem to be solved or an issue to be pressed into or a mission to be explored.
It's like, would you be willing to go and have a cup of coffee with somebody and ask them what they're passionate about? And it's like, oh, it's that easy. And it is.
The success of Generation Spark, I think, lies in its simplicity. So this isn't something that has to be overly difficult for a church to start up. You're given the training as a director. The training materials are all created already. And from there, the director trains the 4 to 6 adults and 4 to 6 youth that they find for the program. And you just walk through the program week to week with them for 12 weeks.
I thought I would be doing some serious heavy lifting to keep people on task, and it was, no, I just had to let them off the leash. And that speaks back to the fact that the youth, they initiated, they fell deeply in love, they shared that with their mentor. The mentor, that was contagious as well.
I think the older generation is craving to be invited into something. And I think they just need to be asked. So this created it gave us a reason to make the ask. Something beyond just hey, younger people and older people should hang out together. Let's bring it together around a cause. Let's bring it together around a mission.
Well, the need was fresh produce within food pantries.
We came up with a youth consistory to help with key chain leadership.
Wanting to provide kid-friendly, non-perishable food to families and kids, especially in the community.
We decided to go with suicide and self-harm because it's something I feel strongly about.
They meet at first, and it's probably really uncomfortable. But then they tackle the problem. They pick their own, and it's usually something really close to their heart. So right away, that instills vulnerability in the relationship. They're working together each week, and they're talking about their lives, and they're talking about how they're passionate about these things that they've chosen and how that fits into their life.
As the pairs are walking week to week, we sort of guided them in where they should be at in their project. So should they be at the stage of investigating what they want to work on? Should they be at the stage of starting to implement it? But every step of that was then measured by the SPARKS acronym.
So we knew what our next step would be, and I'm glad we made goals in the beginning. And I think the SPARKS acronym kind of helped us through, okay, what steps is next in this process? What are we going to do next?
So the project is there simply to take away the awkwardness of a 16 to 24-year-old meeting with someone who is most likely over the age of 50. There's so many differences in their lives and so many, they don't have much in common. The project just brings them together.
It makes the focus the cause, but the end result is the relationship.
You have a lot of wisdom, and it's been a blessing to be able to learn from you and your life.
Well, I hope we carry on this relationship for a long time.
The courage and the bravery that I've seen in her is just phenomenal, just really incredible.
And she's the one that got me to express myself and open up more. So she's been there through a lot.
I have gained energy and momentum, I think, personally, from watching Raven's growth. And I have to say that at my age, complacency and status quo is an easy thing to fall into.
Through this, we've been able to talk more in depth about how we feel about things happening in the church and how we feel about what we can be doing in the church.
And she was encouraging too. Like if I was like, oh, I had a bad day at work, it's just nice building that relationship that's more of I wasn't Mrs. Hanley anymore, I was Marcy now. And that was nice. You're pretty amazing.
It was really interesting because we both go to the same church, the same service, and I have never really seen Dustin, never really noticed him. He said, oh yeah, I go to the same service you go to.
Last year was pretty rough for me, school and just other things going on. And so this, just someone to talk to that I can trust, has been helpful with just getting it out,
They went from sitting on opposite sides of the sanctuary on a Sunday to chatting in the back of church afterwards and catching up on their life. It's just been neat to see that they found a relationship and they found each other, and they may not have thought they had anything in common, but they all found something in common.
We value developing people of all ages into being disciples in the kingdom of God. And to do that requires the whole family. It requires all the generations. When you participate in something like Generation Spark as a church, what you're declaring to your young people and to your older generation is you matter. You are valuable. You are important. And you're worth our investment, and you're worth our intentionality.
I think a lot of times when you're young, you feel like you just don't try because you feel like you're not gonna be heard. And it doesn't matter the age difference. It doesn't matter what age I am. I can still make a difference within this church. I see this now, a church, as a place where God's light can shine.
I feel more seen at church.
I've definitely come more open about things. So it's definitely brought out more in me.
Every single child within our congregation that was connected to this had a different passion, and they were engaging that passion and tying it to mission and feeling valued throughout the process.
Revitalizing churches is simple in concept. It takes two people to talk to each other, see a problem, identify it, and work together on that problem. A younger person and an older person. And to see that change is possible not through councils or committees, but through two people wanting to follow Jesus together, even if they're a different age demographic, provides a grassroots and truly evangelical impetus for serving the local body they're a part of and their community.
Locally, I can't wait to see the higher value of the youth with relationship, and I would say nationally, if not globally, I can't wait to see a counter narrative to what is going on.
Do it, even though you might have hesitations or be a little skeptical. I said why not take a risk.
There's no need to fear, and you can jump in that water with 2 feet. There's just so much to learn from these young people.
Go for it because it can turn into something great.
Just don't be scared to do it. It's it's intimidating for us, and it's probably intimidating for you on that end. So
I've thought of every excuse in the book not to do it, and for some reason this time I couldn't say no, and I'm so glad I didn't.
It's kind of refreshing to see somebody else's perspective that's not bringing all this years of experience with it. They have these ideas that may seem crazy, but then they work.
There doesn't have to feel like there's a distance in the things you can talk about, because we're both just people, obviously, even though we have years between us.
A lot
Yeah.
of years.
Well,
Young people in the church today, they have so much to give. I think we need to do a better job of recognizing those gifts and talents, recognizing the big faith that many of them have, and also being willing to talk about some of the hard questions that they want to ask in this space of the church. And to me, when they're asking those questions and exploring areas of life and questioning their faith, what a better place to do that than in the church, where they're surrounded by people who love and care about them. And so through Generation Spark, if they have one more person who knows them a little bit better and knows them by name, I'm confident that we can change the trajectory of their faith journey.